Here.
Here.
Emily,
Here.
Jack, here, Brad is here, and Paul is absent today. He's traveling out of town this week. So with that, shall we stand and have an invocation and do our pledges? Heavenly Father, we thank you so much that we can live in this community, live in this county, live in the state and the country, the freedoms we enjoy and the privileges we have. We thank you for the opportunity to serve tonight. Guide us as we do the business of the mud. Direct us in all our actions that we would honor you. We pray these things in Christ's name. Amen. Move for the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Okay, any comments from the public? Any requests for adjustments? Okay. Consent agenda items 5 through 9 are in the packet. Any questions on those?
Talking about the impact
Yes,
section.
or the lack of thereof,
Here,
or the lack thereof.
Arthur was here last month, letting us know there was a problem. That he might get the 1-year term versus the 3-year term. Right now, it's at the time, he has a 3-year term. They did find a problem. On June the 13th, they let us know that there was a problem, and what it is the ESDs and the hospital district are not reclamation conservation districts. So they went back and took out those votes. Louis Pedraza got the 3-year term, Arthur gets the 1-year term. The next, and of course, lesson learned, the appraisal district, and it's been like this for 30 years. Okay, but they have always been included in the special district election. There will be a big election, but the special districts are out of the election for this year. So, but the big election will be in the fall, the county school and city. Okay. If Arthur or anybody gets nominated by one of them, they'll be on the ballot. The next election will be in 26 to be seated in 27, and that'll be the elected officials. So we're out for this term, this election for the special districts. I just want to let you know where we stand today.
Could you summarize that in a minute for the meeting so we can have that in writing? Because I thought you were going to talk about the letter that's
So
in
it's in
here.
your packet. That's basically what it is. And I gave you the,
Well, I read the letter and that's not, everything you said, I didn't pick up from reading the letter.
statutes, the codes that are in.
Yeah. So this talks about, we were supposed to submit something by June 1st, and because we didn't, we're not able to participate in
Right,
the
the
election.
special district has to nominate, and what if they need to let the appraisal district know they want to participate and nominate by June the 1st. By June the 1st of this year, an ESD sent in the participation letter. At the time, we did not know that they are not a reclamation conservation district. So we didn't find out there was a problem until the 13th, so we missed the June 1st deadline.
Okay.
So point forward, every participating district in the Woodlands is going to start nominating and participating for this election. We're just going to send it in, whoever gets it, you got to nominate and send the letter in by June the 1st.
Regardless of whether other entities have already called the election.
Right.
We're
So
not-
what happens if, didn't we vote earlier in the year where we voted for, was it Charlie or Charles?
We went ahead and did all of that because we didn't know what the problem was going to be. So we didn't want to be stuck and not have our nominees done because the election had already been called by June the 1st. All it takes is one reclamation
Talks
conservation
about
district.
the election earlier.
Oh, in May?
Yeah.
Okay, that was to seat people through December of this year. Now we were doing it to seat people because they want to get on a,
Rotating schedule, yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, and we had told you this election was gonna be coming up again.
So last month, we took a nomination for somebody,
Yes,
and we're saying that wasn't
Yeah.
valid because we didn't, before June 1st, we didn't tell them we wanted to be part of the election.
right, because ESD 8 did, and we thought they were a reclamation conservation district. So the election participation letter was called by June the 1st.
Did we get a timeline
Yes,
with a calendar for what's supposed to happen in the next 2 years so we don't miss anything?
So that my understanding that because we didn't sign up on the 25th, the next time we can sign up is the 2027.
yes.
It has to be odd years, so we will miss anything from now until the 27th.
Yes,
Okay,
because the next election will be the elected officials.
the next time we can get in, we have to file on odd years.
Yeah, that's what,
Yeah. By June the 1st of every odd year, yes.
So in essence, we cannot do anything until 2027. After.
Are we going to be putting some sort of process together so we make that? Like we're making sure that that's like coming down the pike, we see that it's here, that we need to do this.
Yes, I will notify y'all, just like I have always in the past.
Maybe
We do it, no, excuse me, yes.
elections are on even years. Okay, thanks for working on this. I know it's been a challenge. I guess the new legislation caused some lack of clarity in the whole process. But we're done, we're now done. And the next thing is the general public election in November.
Well, it'll be in the fall. I don't know that it'll be in November. But probably will, because they'll, yeah, probably November, December, because they'll be seated January 1 of 27.
Yeah.
26, 27,
26.
So.
26. isn't it?
Go ahead, Arthur, add some clarity.
This-
The board has done such a good job getting us to this point.
Next one will be
Well,
27.
your question is about the citizen election. The citizen election will take place in 26, and that'll be at the November general election. There'll be 3 candidates that can run for that, those 3 citizen positions. As far as the special purpose district, it's unfortunate a district called the election that they thought they were a reclamation and conservation district. They called it before June 1. It was all discovered after June 1 that they were not the proper district. And we missed a special purpose district for this year in 25 for 2 terms, 2 people in 26 to run for a 4-year term. Then they had to go back and look at the election of 25. You asked the question about your nominee in March. Yes, you did nominate someone, and there was a special purpose district held, but the hospital district voted and the ESDs voted. So by finding out that they're not eligible, the 25 election had to be recounted and recalibrated. So that's why Louis Pedraza went from a 1-year term to a 3-year term, and I went from a 3-year term to a 1-year term. So that had to be recalculated because they were not eligible. So that's kind of the confusion that.
The
took
existing
place.
board was providing oversight during this time.
Yes. Oh, the chief appraiser actually runs the election. So I hope that clarified it.
Yeah. Okay, thanks so much. Any other questions on MCAT?
Do we get like a special notice that we have to submit?
We put it in your packet.
Okay.
Every time there's election coming up, there'll be
No, I
something in your
mean that
packet.
we have to pre-register to be able to be eligible to vote. They didn't tell you ahead of time that you had to do that.
Yeah, but it was already called.
It was already called, that's why.
The election was called. It was found out 2 weeks later after the deadline that it was called by an entity that wasn't allowed to call it.
Right.
That's the rub. That's the issue.
So why are we slighted because of that.
MCAT board voted to follow the statute
Mhm.
and uphold the statute, regardless of how they got there.
Well, it's not a matter of being called, the election being called, it's a matter of us. I mean, if I read the second paragraph on here, we have to specifically in writing submit our desire to participate.
Exactly.
Okay.
But only one needs to. So as long as one does, the election is called. And that
That's
happened.
not,
And that
okay.
happened
Yeah,
before
it-
June 1.
That's not how I read that.
Issue Conservation District can call the election with a nominee, and that opens up the election for all reclamation conservation districts. Then you get the letter from the appraisal district to nominate.
Okay, that's not how I read, Mrs. Hunter's letter. But sure, in 2027,
7.
you'll
We
take
will
care
go
of it.
through the process. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Anything else in the consent agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the
So
consent.
we have a second. Shall we all vote? All in favor of approving the consent, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That carries. It takes us down to number 10 rather. Chris, I think that's you.
Good evening. All right, our report begins on page 23 in your packet. No violations, no major issues, no major milestones surpassed. Blend ratio is still 50-50 for the year. Give or take 10% of 50-50 for the month. Water loss still down. All the rain and the cooler weather, we're not selling as much water, but we're still selling water. So there's something there. But besides that, if you have any questions in the report, I'll be happy to go through anything with you.
Anything? Go.
I was looking at wastewater treatment plant number 3. Did we come dangerously close to reaching our chlorine level?
We do.
Okay.
So it's an unmanned facility that right now is basically it's old technology. We're in the process now of actually installing new technology that's going to reduce the chlorine amount and do more of a real-time control of it. Hopefully that'll be finished up by the end of this fiscal year, give or take September 1st.
Does the rain make it more difficult to reach?
It does when the flows are doing this throughout the day rather than a little bit more consistent.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You mentioned water loss. So we're still above our planning basis of 4 versus 4.3. Do you think that'll come down and we'll end up the year on target? Or do you think we'll still be above?
It will be slightly above. I mean, 0.3, not too bad. 1% is roughly $100,000, so 0.3, give or take, $40,000 or so.
I'm just concerned with that and the rain decreased sales. Are we going to meet our budget on revenue?
Yeah, I think we're good. Now, the financials you'll see on page 31 for the
Yeah.
Woodland Division are a little bit misleading and Haley can hear. You kind of want to talk about that since you're here? Please help me.
Since I'm here, might as well. So it does look a little weird on the revenue side where it's showing, I think it's a $4 million variance that we're under budget on revenue. But if you recall in March when we had the excess funds and we refunded the 5.1 million, I believe. That is the reduction in our revenues of this year, which then kind of makes this budget look like we're not on track because we gave 5 million back, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But in reality, if memory serves, I think we're about $1 million to the due under budget.
Any other questions for Chris? You've got us all trained now. We know what to look for. We move right through that.
Both ways, go both ways.
Yeah. Okay, I think you're back on the budget unless Chris wants to introduce you.
I'm here. So as y'all know, on the budget item in the agenda that I presented at the trustees meeting, we had 2 changes to our budget from what we presented in June. So I'm gonna run through the highlights. If y'all want the full presentation, I'm happy to give that as well. And then at the end, I'll ask for y'all's vote to direct your trustee to vote in our August meeting to approve our budget. So the 2 changes that I presented at the trustees meeting was the first one was the GRP fee is going down a penny from what we presented in June. So that's down 5 cents from last year's budget. So it'll be $2.92. And then the second change is in the project plan. So we presented our project plans in April, and since we presented the project plan in April, TWDB approved a budget amendment that we had put in to change one of our projects to be funded out of our existing 2017 bonds. So since they approved that project, that is now reflected in the project plan in your handout and in our budget. So you'll see that $4 million in the 2017 bond fund budget instead of the R&R budget. And then also just to reiterate the water and wastewater rates, the water rate is $2.73, which is the same as last year. And the wastewater rate we're proposing at $5.65, which is the same as last year as well. If y'all don't have any questions, I will leave y'all to vote.
I'll just call attention, if you watch the tape, and I also need to watch the tape from the trustee meeting. This decrease of a nickel continues to track the increasing production through the GRP or through the surface water plant. So they've gone from 13.2 to 15 to 16.5. And this last increment from 15 to 16.5 saved us another penny. So that's a testimony to the GRP getting that throughput up, which is bringing the unit cost down. Good job on that. Okay. So there's no additional questions or comments in the budget, and have a motion.
Motion to approve the budget as written.
So the motion is to direct the trustee to vote in support of the budget.
I make a motion to direct the trustee to vote.
Okay, can I have a second? Okay, shall we vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that passes. I appreciate your direction for the trustee meeting. Okay. So Eric, you want to give us anything update on the HDR work?
Sure, just put this on everyone's agenda so that you had an opportunity to cover it, continue to cover it. There were several directors that presented comments and questions to HDR. Those reported at HDR a few weeks ago. And then you saw on Friday, we sent over to all of the directors HDR's responses, so you should have that. We are now, as we mentioned a month ago, that once we get the comments back from HDR, that we would set up a kind of a Teams call for those directors that put in questions. And so we're working on trying to get a schedule for that at the moment.
Well, any director can present the Teams call or?
Yes and no. I'm not going to create an all mud situation, so we got to be cognizant of forums. So, I mean, theoretically, we could have two, but no more. So we did not invite we just invited those that had the specific questions at hand.
I guess if one of y'all wanted to participate.
We are going to tape it, so it will be available to view after the fact. It'll be a Teams that will record.
How far after the meeting will it be available?
Within the day or so.
Okay.
Normal.
So we're looking at the Teams call the week of the 3rd or 4th.
I'll be the
August.
But I encourage you, if you haven't looked at the HDR responses to the questions, have a look at those because those are insightful. I think they're going to generate another series of questions, which some of us will send you to, so they have them in advance of a Teams call.
Okay.
But I think they were very insightful.
Okay.
So are you expressing interest to be on the Teams
Yes.
call?
I would
Okay.
like to be
So
on.
can you, well, she'll be our second rep.
Okay.
Who else will be on?
I'm on, because I submitted a bunch of questions. Yeah, and I guess the questions were printed out for the trustees. Did you guys get printed copies or you want printed copies?
We got email copies.
Your email copies?
I'd like a printed copy that's big enough that I can read without a magnifying glass.
There's that.
Michelle.
For Shelley.
If you need a bigger copy, I'm sure we can get a 2-page, 4-page rather than, no, or,
Yeah, that's fine. I just, seriously, the print is so small, you need a magnifying glass to read it.
okay. Eric, do you want to talk a little bit about timeline for this? Because I guess where we left the trustee meeting is we're going to have the follow-up with HDR the week of the 4th. And we've got the trustee meeting the week after that, and then the MUD meeting the week after that.
Yeah, so the real focus at this point would be to make a determination on moving forward with Town Center project. Town Center project, as you know, has been designed, it's 97% designed. And the motion that the trustees would need to make is to shift some easements budget that was allotted for that project over to complete a partial redesign of that facility of the Town Center water line to move the alignment over to get free of a potential future drive lane of Grogan's Mill. So that if it ever gets expanded, which has been mentioned, that it would be sitting right under the outside drive lane. So the intention would be to redesign what's mostly designed already by just moving it over. So the motion would be to adjust the budget to shift some of that easement monies over to the redesign. Is that fair? That would be step one. Step two would then be to give direction to SGRA by November 1. That's when they've asked for direction from the MUDs as to getting I guess all of the projects, including Town Center, whichever ones are going forward, into the 10-year project plan. And so then from there, they would utilize the information from HDR to try to identify the cadence. Because keep in mind, each of these projects could be a 3 to 5, 6-year project between design, bidding, and then construction completion. So they don't just, it takes a while to get them done. So they would need to time them out kind of in that project plan.
I guess my question is, if the MUDs would like to give direction to the trustee, the earliest that can happen is the August MUD meeting. And then trustees could go back and vote in September. And my concern is,
Trustees can vote in August.
well, not with direction from their MUDs.
What's the after?
MUDs are meeting today.
We don't have anything, we don't have a proposal presented, we don't have budget numbers. MUDs aren't in position this week to give guidance to their trustee, I don't think.
For Town Center, they are. Maybe not for the rest.
Do we have all the budget numbers?
You've been given them.
In the packet?
They're from. the last
Where are
meeting.
they?
It's an active project that's going on right now.
If we've been given the budget numbers, where are they?
They're in your packet.
Where are they?
Well, if you look at the projects, there's active projects. There's 2 active projects, one which is an easement number, and one is the design number.
Here it is on page 27.
Kristen.
27 is on the bottom, and 20, and top at 30 is the other one.
So if you're looking for the cost of redesign, that estimate is 650,000 to 700,000 according to the engineer.
Is that in the packet?
That is not in the.
It's not in the packet, okay? So I think, to me, I don't see how the MUDs can vote today when there's still open questions with HDR.
Chris, can you repeat what you just said?
The redesign portion, meets and bounds and almost everything except for buying the easements is about 700,000 on the high side.
So you're adding that
Added to the
to,
1.533? No, it comes out of the.
It comes out of it. And so to make it easier going forward, part of the thought process would be to take those 2 projects, the Town Center water line easements and the Town Center water line project, and put them together because they're the same thing. If they're together, then that you would get rid of the basically you take the 1.5 million that is on the top,
30.
30.
That's one.
You would take the project from the top of page 30 and you would put it on top of the other town center on the bottom of page 27. So the total budget would be 1.5 million plus 700,000.
So there's no extra money needed on what's on page 27 for the design stuff.
There's about 650, 700,000. That's going to come from the easements.
I'm saying you're moving from the other category, page 30, over to this page.
Maybe this one's.
All the money's in here, it's just in different buckets.
Just moving around so there's no rate increases.
So there's, the easement doesn't need all the 1.5 million?
Easements will likely need more money at some point in time, but we won't know what easements we need until we get design done.
So the total is 3 million?
1.5 plus 8, 2.3 million.
I think, I mean, if I was approving this, I'd like a clean sheet that showed all the numbers combined, and then what the outlook is. If you're saying, we're gonna take money from the 1.5, but in the future, we gotta replace that 1.5.
Right.
So basically, I mean, I would think you're having to spend more money on engineering because you're having to redo some of the engineering.
You are, which is why we need more money for easements in the future.
Right.
We can get that look ahead and see roughly how much we're thinking on easement wise. Engineers, I think, have already looked at what parcels they need.
I haven't heard that, but you may have.
Okay.
So the question is, my question as a trustee to the MUD is, are you going to be comfortable that I should vote in August before we meet with the answers, with the follow-ups from HDR? Or would you rather, I mean, I would have expected this to come back to the come back to the MUDs before the trustees are asked to vote.
How much of this comes out of MUD 7 budget? Because it says MUD 6 and Metro.
Yeah, so the MUD 6 and Metro is just the physical location of the line itself, but this is paid for via, well, this is excess funds coming from rates, so whatever your pro rata share is, but money's already on hand. So it's nothing that comes from y'all to us.
No new money.
No new money.
No new.
The real question is, when we look at everything we have from HDR, do we think this is the top project we ought to spend money
I
on?
won't be at the August meeting, but I do think it's appropriate to wait till the August meeting when less information is available for us to make a decision.
Or if it's available sooner, is there a way to let us know? We can somehow like have
That would be a special meeting.
and then, yeah, this would be through Brian. He could maybe work that
There
out.
would have to be, there would have to be a separate meeting if you wanted to have deliberation about it. If you got information and, provided your direction to Eric, and he could provide that to Brad before the trustee meeting. And Brad, again, all this effort to give direction to your trustee is really so that you don't have a trustee that goes out and takes action that's not really the will of the board. You can delegate to Brad and use his best judgment if the information comes in without y'all having to go and give direction. I mean, that you've got the ability and the flexibility to do that if you want to, delegate to Brad to use his best judgment based on the information he receives from the consultant. And that may be the way to go on this. We're just talking about one. I know there's a number of projects in that report, but here we're only talking about potential action at the trustee meeting on one project.
Right, but it's you got to be comfortable. That's the most important project that we ought to work on. Okay.
And then it's a matter of, does the board all want to be involved in giving you direction? Or are they okay with you using your judgment based on the information you receive from the consultant?
I'm fine delegating it to you, or using your judgment. I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it.
Okay,
Same as well.
that's what I want to do.
Would it be helpful to have a little more we need a little clarity, but I'd like to offer a little bit of information. I mentioned this at the trustees meeting. Whatever date the trustees decide to say you can go forward, or if you can go forward, we're 10 months before we're delivering engineering drawings. Another 6 months to acquire easements. So it's not like the only immediate expenditure is the engineering cost. Now, we won't know until we get further into the design how many additional parcels we're going to need. So we can't give you a budget number other than a high number. We can't give you an estimated construction cost until we have a more complete design. So if you're waiting to see full budget numbers based on a complete design, that's going to be 10 months from now.
I understand that, but we've got to decide whether we take these projects off the hold and progress them, or start spending money that's on hold, or do we take those funds and do something else with them?
And this is the only project that we have any engineering
I
started.
understand that. I understand that.
All the other 6 had no engineering. So from that point, if you authorize a different project, we're 2 to 3 years before a shovel is ready to go in the ground.
Brad, are you trying to just determine if this is the top priority? This is number one.
So on here, it says discuss and or act. So we can act on this and we can create a motion and help them forward with this. So.
Well, I mean, it sounds like the motion would have been use my judgment, which I will do. Okay.
I'll make the motion that we'll delegate this to Brad as a judge. Go to the trustees meeting and see the determines best.
Hello?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay, good. I think in the end, when we get all the questions answered, there won't be any issues. But when you look at the responses from HDR, it's clear this project isn't at the top of the list because of its break history or its risk. It's at the top of the list because we've got the engineering done on it and we want to make the pipe bigger.
And because there are some critical facilities that are served by this pipeline.
That's not what's in the report.
I believe it is. It's just not all in one spot.
But when you look at the answers from HDR, if you looked at using the data to derive the decision-making, that risk mitigation, you would do a different project. Okay?
I think we'll agree to disagree on this one. I'm not looking for a debate, Brad.
Okay.
All I'm saying is I have a different opinion than what you have. And that's okay.
I'm just happy to read to you what HDR said.
I have read the documents.
Okay.
How do we go forward with this one, having the engineering design and all this, that we're this far along on this project? How did that happen?
Because the original, couple of years ago, when we were only going to do projects based upon age, this was identified. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure I was involved in all of that, but it was age-based. But it's also driven by, they want a bigger pipe there. Okay. Okay. So
That's what.
Sounds like there also needs to be some movement because of other things going on. It needs to be moved.
The whole project of Town Center is not all larger pipe. There's only one area that's larger pipe.
yeah, one area. Yeah.
And it's a small segment compared to the Grogan's Mill line.
That isn't as old as a lot of parts of the Woodlands, because that was new in 95, that area, correct?
That I could not quote you a date on.
Yeah, the Grogan's Mill area at South Bend looks like it's in the worst shape and it's, has the highest, some of the highest break areas.
But we're talking about the mall.
Right.
That area is fairly new, per se,
Yeah, somebody.
in comparison.
Okay, good. So I will take that. Anything else? And so 2 actions from that discussion. I will vote based upon what I think if the vote comes up in August. And Marta will join us on the week of the 4th for the follow-up with HDR. Okay. Okay. Item
Can I
13.
ask a question, Brian? Are we allowed to, Emily and I or Paul watch that video? Are we allowed to provide input or feedback to Brad without violating any open meetings?
So you're saying that multiple of you,
Well, let's just say independently it could be that we watch it and we decide, hey, we want to tell Brad, this is what we think. Does that violate anything?
well, I think if you have multiple folks that are talking to Brad, then that could create an issue.
Even if they were independent?
The walking core. Right.
Okay.
But you could share them here.
Well,
But the problem is that's after the trustee meeting. That's why I was trying to get delay the trustee action until the mud met next time. Okay, that was my concern. Because right now, I'm going to be voting potentially in August without input from the mud. Okay. So. Okay. Eric or somebody on item 13, Bear Branch, Panther Creek.
Yeah, 13, we're just awaiting the final version of the executive summary from LJA. And then once we have that, we'll be scheduling a meeting with local agencies and legislators to take one more shot at finding some money.
Item 14 is payment. Eric, I think you got this one also.
Yes, this is pay estimate number 2. Consider approval of pay estimate number 2 in the amount of $236,700 for the drainage project, and then also consideration and approval of change order number 2 in the amount of $37,730. Pay estimate is on page 59, and that'll be for the $236,700. And then I wanted to point out to in our report on page 69, at the bottom, you'll see update pictures of this project. So project's pretty much done. There's not much left, just some cleanup and some minor things. I wanted to point out what the change order riprap was, is for additional riprap. If you look at the bottom right corner picture, you see where the riprap stops. What we're going to do is extend that riprap beyond kind of where that hump is in the middle of the picture. So it just kind of go beyond there. Felt like once it was constructed that it needed a little bit more riprap downstream of the drop structure to cover that little kind of area there. So that's the purpose of the change order for $37,730. So I would need motion and approval of the estimate number 2 and change order number 2.
We did 37,000.
Yeah, estimate number 1 is $236,700.
We already approved that, didn't we?
No, that was estimate number 1 last month.
That was half of the
So
project.
as the project goes, we pay estimates to,
Okay, so this is additional charge to what we
Put
approved
this on
last
next
month.
month.
we'll pay some number 2. It's the second installment of the work he's done.
Okay,
We only pay a contractor for work completed, minus retainage.
So the only additional amount is 37,730.
Correct.
For the
and
extra
you approved
work.
both of those.
Correct.
Well, you want 2 separate motions.
It can be the same
Okay.
to approve both.
We have one motion.
I'm moved to approve it.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All in favor of approving the payment for $236,700 and the change order for $37,000? Say aye.
All right.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
And that's just for us on that side.
No, you have 90% of that. So
90% of it?
you can deduct 10% for 160.
Okay.
And this project was originally estimated at 750,000. We're up to about 5. So it's still going to stay well under budget, which is good,
Which will help our reserves this year.
unless we find other niches to work on. But yes, there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
We would bring that to you separately.
Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Okay, Ryan.
Yes, sir. Not much to report this month. Y'all should have received the legislative summary from the session that just wrapped up. Got questions, happy to answer them. Also, you may have heard that the governor did call a special session. It's supposed to start on Monday. Special sessions last 30 days. There's not a limit to how many special sessions the governor can call. After the last regular session, there were number of special sessions that were called. So we'll see what happens this time. There are 18 items on this called special session. So I think the over under on that is going to be pretty low on how many that they're able to get through 30 days. So would not be surprised if we see another
In
one.
the interest of education, can you tell me what an impact fee is?
Long story, but they're typically imposed by cities or capacity in the city water and sewer infrastructure. So those are charged for new development or redevelopment. And there's a whole statutory framework for a process that you have to go through in order to charge those impact fees.
And they came up with a name impact fee because, okay, so.
Yeah, the impact of development on the existing or needed additional infrastructure. The impact of the new or redevelopment on the infrastructure.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that is one of the called items regarding impact fees. But is that why you're bringing it up?
Well, I was looking through here, and thank you for sending this out. It is a little bit heavy on legalese for those of us who have gone to law school or have an
Yeah.
interest in it.
It is.
So there are some things that are a little hard to understand, but it does a good job of summarizing that's been approved and that which was not approved.
And there is, I thought you may have been bringing that up because there is one of the items on the special session that's called for to authorize political subdivisions to reduce impact fee for builders who include water conservation and efficiency measures. So I did notice that on the call session, special session. That's all I have.
Great, thanks. Eric, back to you on the GM report.
All right, just a couple updates. I'll let you know, we are starting to come to a close on a lot of the building improvements that we set out to do. The fire system, alarm system and intrusion alarm system and the front doors have all been fixed and replaced. Well, the doors haven't been replaced, but the closures have. So everything's up and running. We're in a much better place and we're up to go. Wanted to mention some internal stuff that we did the last 6 months. We've been building and implementing a new career pathing program for employees. And so that included redoing all of our job descriptions and then building a performance review program. I'm happy to say that we completed the build and then we also have implemented the performance review program and gone through everybody's self evals, manager evals, and one-on-one. So those have all been completed in time for the budget. We are continuing to go through all of the ditch assessments. We're about 85% done assessing all the ditches. Once that is complete, we'll be able to utilize that information in a project plan or capital improvement plan. And so we're looking forward to getting that complete here in the next few weeks. And then the budget process for WWA and the MUDs is in August. We'll be bringing your budgets, draft budgets to you for first look. And then September will be the approval of the budget itself. So that's the next phase of the project or the budget. Wanted to point out that Lone Star Groundwater Conservation District is going to be hosting the next GMA 14 meeting on September 17th. And then the next day, on the 18th, they'll be hosting a MUD informational meeting open to the public to hear about the updated modeling and DFCs, desired future conditions for water in Montgomery County. So if anyone's interested, we're likely going to be a pretty healthy attendance at either or both of those back-to-back days.
And page 92 has some details on it. So my impression from hearing Sarah talk, it's first come, first serve. When they fill up, they're going to stop accepting RSVPs. They're not going to look for a bigger room. So if you guys want to go, I encourage you to like RSVP tonight or tomorrow. So I don't think their room's very big.
It's not.
So, and it's countywide. So this is not just for the Woodlands.
Guess we could do that on our phone right now.
Well, okay. But yeah, this will be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yes. Also on this coming Monday, there will be a meeting for the 5 MUDs associated with the dam. And we'll hear about the project from the engineer that gave the recommendation that's pending. And that is Monday, the 21st at the community center.
Are we one of those?
Yeah.
At what time?
What do we do, 5:30? Yes. Similar setup as Alma, just a smaller group, only 5 months involved, so we'll probably get a little closer.
They'll be here or?
Across at the community center.
You said 5:30?
Yes.
Is there an RSVP for that? Or just show up?
Shelley sent out an
They got
invitation
plenty
for
of-
this.
Saw it.
It was sent out in one of those open meeting kind of things we can reserve.
I'll be there, Chevy.
Okay. Great.
And with that, I'm gonna pick it to John for the communications update.
Evening. Page 80 starts your report. The community working group met on July 1st. They got an overview of the condition assessment for wastewater reclamation facility number 1. That was very well attended session there for the community working group, and well received. Good information, good discussion following up on that. That was their 5th meeting of the CWG. The 6th is yet to be calendared, probably the next 6 or 8 weeks or so. And there was an article published in Community Impact on the CWG in the digital edition on June 18. You can QR that there if you didn't catch it. It's also printed out in the back of your packet too. And I wanted to flip over to page 82 and just talk about social media for a minute. First off, reminder, check in on our social media feeds, even if you're not big into that. I think it's good to see what we're putting out. It does mirror a lot what we push out in the weekly and our e-blast. But we do tailor it a bit depending on the audience. Audiences vary a little bit by platform. But check in on that, and when you're there, please share those posts. So hit that thumbs up or hit that heart, depending on where you're at. That helps us really grow our reach. It only takes a second to click that, and it's really helpful when you do it. To get to those platforms is really easy. You just go to the homepage of Woodlands Water. Up on the left, you'll see our series of icons for all of our various platforms there. You just click on that, take you right there. Let's see what we're up to. And again, please like us or share us when you're there. And then at the bottom, some stats I want to bring forward on how we're doing since we brought on our social media specialist 6 weeks ago. Stephanie Williams has been working part-time, generating content, a lot of reels or short videos specifically for social media, and doing a lot to further our reach. So in the 6 weeks since she has started on Facebook, we've seen 150% increase in views. And then on Instagram, we've seen a 9x increase in views there. So I think that's working out really well. Encouraged by the initial returns on that. And with that, any questions? All right, thank you.
Now the trustees report, page 84. Eric's already mentioned several of these things. The only one we talked about, the town center. So the wording on the town center, the redesign is necessary for the future expansion. I guess that's really potential, right? It's not a potential future expansion. The current county commissioner has gone on record as saying he doesn't support that. So want to make sure that we don't communicate to the public that the road's being expanded prematurely. So, okay. One thing that we also talked about the trustee meeting was our contact to MUD directors via the website. Eric, you want to share what you got in mind?
There were a couple of districts that requested us to look into it, and we brought it back to the trustees for review. The idea was to put director contact information on the website, and we had some concern about putting the specific contact information listed on the website, but rather what we found was that we could create an opportunity for the public to send you a note without putting your actual email address. So there'd be like a drop down situation where they could find your name, and if they wanted to send a direct email to a particular director, they could do that. And then it would go to the email address that you have on file or that you utilize or tell us you want to use. Then you could get that. Now, if you then respond to that email, the individual that asked you the question or sent you the email would then have your information.
So this would be similar to how you contact our other elected officials, where they have a contact, the online form you fill out. They would be able to select any one of us. And you could, as needed, to engage WWA staff to make any response.
We have staff respond with a generic response, like politicians do.
I mean, that hasn't been, we could create a standing reply saying, thank you for reaching out to MUD 7 directors. We'll be in contact. But I mean, are you okay if we do that? This is on a MUD by MUD basis, correct?
Yes.
So I would say it sounds like great. I mean, it's a nice compromise between exposing our email addresses and, not being able to be contacted.
The email addresses indicate that Brad's a trustee. I'm sure you're gonna get more emails if it does.
Well, the website has, I mean, I assume this would be on the MUD website. The website has our positions. Okay. So,
Yeah, I don't know how many characters in the drop down. We certainly could put a comma, trustee,
We could
and
have,
identify.
just ensure that we're using our MUD emails.
I mean, Brian has indicated to all the directors that that's his preference. Just, in the case of discovery and whatnot, not all directors do that. So it's really up to you as to what email address you use and give us to put on there. Just know that once it's on there, the public will be able to, send you a direct email to that address.
I think it's a great idea because there's no other way for us to engage with the public. And we may get more feedback, comment, participation. It's a good idea.
I think the expectation would be something for the group. Bring it back to the group. I mean, somebody might reach out to Jack because they know, oh, I know Jack and he's in the water, so I'm going to email Jack. But it's actually something that we as a group can talk about. So, ask.
Not behind the scenes.
No. In the next meeting.
Right.
In the next meeting.
And the
Yeah,
name.
and I would, and if it's something that, requires some sort of agenda or something like that, I would suggest you contact me, say, hey, I've gotten some information that came in the email.
Yes.
I'd like to talk about this topic. Can we put it on the agenda? We'll make that.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
So do you need a motion from us? Or you'll make it happen?
If you'd like, we will. Yeah, I don't think I
I'm
need.
fine with it.
You want to wait for Paul to get back? Or drop him a note saying that,
It's gonna take us a minute just to get the website, that piece of it.
Yeah,
built.
okay.
So I can wait, that's fine, but I mean, I'll go move forward with it.
Okay. Because once it goes live, you need to have,
You'll wonder why he's getting.
you sort of have cadence to go and check that email. And he may say, oh, why am I getting these emails? And it'd be nice. So if you get it ready, we'll go live after the next meeting.
Sounds good.
What else we talk about? Yeah, and then as John mentioned, the next CWG sometime in September, right? So, I mean,
That's not been determined at the moment, but it's.
okay. That's what's in the minutes from the
I know.
Tuesday meeting. But okay,
Okay. We don't have it scheduled yet. That's where it would be targeted.
okay.
And it would probably be on Waterline staff.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, I just want to know how we're going to go about commenting on all the projects that were presented to us in June. you know, like when we've got the water tower or all those different projects and their level of importance. Like right now, we're voting on town center. Are we gonna look at the whole picture? And assess all the other projects that were proposed?
On the water line renewal?
So they'll be integrated into the 10-year plan.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So will that be another all mud meter?
Depends. I think it depends on what. I think the big thing is the future funding. How do we integrate water line replacements with the work that we may do down at wastewater treatment plant number 1? And if those have to go to a bond, do we integrate those? Are they separate bond? I mean, we would look,
I mean, all that it'll be integral to know where all those sit on the 10-year project plan. Because that will have direct impact on when you need wetlands.
Correct.
And then that will obviously need to translate to how we share that information and have that conversation with the public. You know, if it's just, no, this wouldn't be it. If it were all at once, again, that's not it. But if it were, that would likely be a larger immediate impact. That's not how it's going to happen. It'll probably be, you know, a slow bump up, and then whenever the treatment plant's another bump up, you know, how it works. But that we'll need to know what that timeline looks like so that we can share that with the community on, you know, how the MUD's plan to fund it and what the result will be to the community.
I think you want to avoid going, assuming the bond is big enough that we have to go to an election for it, where we go 1 year for X amount of money, and then we go another year, the following year for another money, and do that 2 or 3 years in a row, as opposed to saying, here's our 10-year plan, total spend is X. But I think our bond experts and financial people need to give us some guidance on that, but we need to be sensitive to, you know, bond fatigue from our voters. So I think you're more likely to do a 10-year outlook. But to be determined, right? Okay. Since Brian is outside, I assume we don't need to go to closed session?
No, we don't.
Okay. So we don't need to reconvene. Any items for future agenda for the August meeting? New? Different? Okay.
Is there any way-
On it, just so we can have whatever conversation.
Yeah, okay.
I noticed that at our annual meeting that we went to in San Antonio, there was no financial discussions on bonding, putting up bonds, etc. Is there any way we can get educated on how that works?
Stop on by, I can explain it all. I've given a seminar on it at
okay.
NWD and previously internally in my firm before. So.
Okay, would there be a number of people interested in hearing that, or just me?
Is it
It is related to MUD bonds, so it would be a little different. This would be STRA bonds, but the concept of bonds, regardless of who sells them, is the same. You know, it's you're taking out a loan over a long period of time, 20 to 30 years, and then your tax or revenue off of your water and sewer rates, or your taxes will pay it back.
you want to do like a 5-minute, 10-minute highlight, and then next month, and then if Mara wants to go deeper, y'all can separate, but I think we might all benefit.
I was just sitting here thinking about one of your workshops that you wanted to kind of put up there. You know, it was previous discussion. I think all the MUDs would appreciate that and something they can refer back to, make you duplicatable.
Okay, that's an option. But that's a static, right? When you talk about workshop, are you talking about a physical workshop? Are you talking about posting a copy?
Whoever Eric thinks he wants to do it, how share the information. But I think that you having a workshop, if we're doing the community center, we're all just there listening and maybe questions. And then there can be, either it's recorded or there's something that could come from that. And you're maybe just speaking to it and you have, a whiteboard that you're using on a Zoom. I don't know, however you want to do it.
Gotcha. Yeah, let me think through that and how that would come together. In the meantime, I can sit down and talk with the community. And, you know, talk about workshop. You're talking about a physical workshop. You're talking about a and go over some things with you. But yeah,
Okay.
let me think how I'd put that together.
Who will do the
I think
math?
the information could be valuable.
Let's say go to issue the
Financial advisor.
financial advisor.
Yeah, so it may also make sense to have them come in if we're gonna dig into real actual details. Once the 10-year project plan gets lined out and then we know kind of where things are gonna sit, then most certainly the financial advisor would come in and do some pro formas to identify what the results would be, what the impact would be on the consumer. In terms, whether it's water and sewer rates, whether it's tax rates, whatever the case may be, fees, whatever.
One blanket bond across all MUDs.
No, well, yes, but there would be multiple bonds likely over the years. So you wouldn't, if you need money in year 8, you're not going to sell it in a big one in year 2 and sit on it. So you would they'd have to, that's why the alignment and the cadence of the projects on the 10-year plan is critical, because you look at that and say, okay, we're anticipating that we're going to do this project in this year, and therefore that sets out a time frame of when you need the money, need to sell bond. The bond process is a process, so that takes time. That is a lead up into being able to have money to even start engineering perhaps, and then also to get into construction. So that cadence is going to have to kind of be developed through the 10-year project plan.
I mean, the intent would be to go forward with one proposal, right, for approval for that period of time. And it would be across all the MUDs, all the residents would be voting for this same proposal.
Yes.
And then the cost would be allocated based on per MUD on criteria.
But the MUDs don't actually release the bonds. They're from the River Authority. Right?
But in terms of payment, we all are gonna be on the hook for the same amount?
No.
No, then it's gonna be prorated based on some measurement or criteria, right?
Yeah, based on usage of each MUD, based on size, basically. Yeah. Some MUDs are bigger, they'll pay a bigger share, but it's distributed amongst a bigger group, obviously, and vice versa.
This will be the first time. We've never had to take have we taken bonds for the public before for election?
Oh, what do you mean for election?
For approval?
Rollback tax election.
Yeah. Never done that before.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the direction that anyone's going, but that isn't one of the 4 options that we presented.
I'm not sure whether that's on a MUD.
That would definitely be, yeah, if, I didn't know you were referring to a rollback tax election. If a rollback tax election is agreed upon by each individual MUD to move forward, it would be their voters voting only for their share and their tax rates.
The rollback refers to what?
Resetting your tax rate to a level that you need to fund the debt or whatever expenses that you need. So we need to do an evaluation for each MUD related to anything that you want to fund out of the 10-year project plan, as well as anything in likely I would want to put the WWA project plan items, and it specifically would be ditch stuff. And we would add all that up and figure out how much rollback tax. So if you're at 8 cents, for instance, as a district, you need to identify what delta it would take to fund your share of those projects over whatever period of time. And then you'd say, okay, that's whatever, 15 cents, whatever the number is. And then you then go back to the voters and say, okay, we're currently at 8. We're asking for your approval to do these projects, and the result is it makes sense for whatever the numbers.
But
Make a number. None of those are real numbers. I'm just trying to make.
They are real numbers, but they're not.
Not correct. Not specific to MUD 7. But you get the point. I mean,
Yeah.
Whatever those numbers are, you would go back if you chose to go to rollback tax election. You'd likely probably have some town halls and things like that to really educate the community. We would have to ramp up all the public outreach. Everything would ramp up because you really want to make sure that you educate the public on why, what, how, all the details.
How long?
The whole deal. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so bond education, your go on that and think about how you want to address that
Maybe
needs
we add it
request.
to the agenda for next month or
Yeah.
Let me think through it and I'll make that determination throughout the month. In the meantime, I'll reach out to you.
Okay, great.
Anything else? Okay, nothing else? It's 5:35.
Motion to adjourn.